edition of World Crisis Radio. This is Webster Tarpley speaking from Washington, D.C. And now we're coming to the end of this summer of 2010. And what kind of a summer has it been? It has been the summer of the dupes, the summer of the provocateurs, the summer when gullibility and stupidity and the desire to be fooled and bamboozled have become real factors in world history. This has been an orgy of media manipulation, MK, mind control, using the entire set of registers in the mighty Wurlitzer of the Anglo-American propaganda routine. And, of course, not benign. Is this entire Koran-burning controversy part of the immediate buildup for an attack on Iran? Is this idiotic circus that we're seeing day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute, is that the prelude for some kind of a world catastrophe on a colossal scale? Will there be an attack on Iran soon in the shadow of this mosque story and the Koran story? These, I think, are the questions. If we look back to the Mohammed cartoons of 4 to 5 years ago, we will see that that entire stunt was thoroughly planned at a meeting of the Bilderberger Group, and that the Danish newspaper, which then carried it out, the people from that paper had been present at that Bilderberger meeting. And as I wrote in an essay at that time, the Mohammed cartoons were part of an effort to recruit Europe for a coming attack on Iran, which didn't happen in 2006, 2007, when it might have, and when Cheney and his group, the group behind him that controls him, did everything they could to make this happen. But nevertheless, the potential is still there. And it did, of course, help to wipe away the opposition in Europe from people like Gerhard Schröder of Germany, Jacques Chirac of France, and some others. They're all gone now. And we have these much weaker regimes in their stead. So now we have perhaps a repeat of the Mohammed cartoons on a vaster scale. And I would encourage everyone, resist the tendency to choose sides, but rather study these synthetic events. They're all fake. They're all exercises in manipulation. Don't join in the logic of this idiocy, take sides, but rather look at them as the exercises in mass manipulation that they are. Now, we're recording our program here on the afternoon of Friday, September 10th, and the world is waiting with bated breath for a third-rate Elmer Gantry, a huckster, a faker, a profiteer, a con artist. That's Reverend, I use the word advisedly, Reverend Terry Jones is going to speak from his cathedral in the desert there, his Dove World Outreach Center in Gainesville, Florida. Is it there because it's close to Central Command? Possibly. But he's going to make a final pronouncement about, is he going to mark the 9/11 anniversary by burning Korans? The only question with regard to Terry Jones is he a do-it-yourself Elmer Gantry provocateur, or is he a government agent? Does he come from the FBI, or better yet, military intelligence, perhaps the DIA? If we look at Reverend Terry Jones, we will see a very interesting story with him, that he operated in Germany starting in 1982. He was part of the what was then known as the Christliche Gemeinde Köln, the Christian congregation of Cologne, Germany, big city in the Ruhr, British occupation zone, and that means a lot after all these years, because, of course, in 1982, the sovereignty was still quite limited, and really some of it is still limited. So in 1982, Christliche Gemeinde Köln, and he says that he's going to contribute to the Christian awakening of Europe. He says he's going to reestablish the kingdom of God on earth. That would qualify Reverend Jones as a Gnostic with a capital G. If you think you're going to bring the kingdom of God to earth, that's the dictionary definition of being a Gnostic, again with a capital G. He participated in this Christian congregation of Cologne for 26 years, but had to leave in disgrace. Now, part of this was he claimed to have a doctorate in theology. And in Germany, he picked a very bad place, because in Germany they take these titles, of course, very seriously, right? If you're a professor doctor, then that's taken quite seriously. So he didn't have this degree. He had an honorary degree, he claims, from someplace which is not accredited. So that in German law is Titelmissbrauch, and therefore a fine of 3,000 euros for the good Reverend Terry Jones, a huckster, Hochstapler, right, a con artist, as they would have called him in Germany. He had to leave in disgrace. He, of course, naturally demanded a large percentage of earnings in the form of tithes, or perhaps even more, paid low wages, coolie wages, to people working for the church over there, broke up families, had this fake doctorate. They had a bunch of shops, the Lisa Jones shops, named after his wife, a series of second-hand stores in Germany over there, and this was also run as a profit-making operation. It was his modus operandi seems to be, under normal times, to use the tax-exempt status of a religious organization to run what are, in effect, commercial activities. So he's anti-tax in that sense. The breaking point over there was his cultism, the idea that he wanted to make the church into a personality cult in ways that were anti-scriptural in the views of many of the German participants. He once got up to 1,000 people in the church, but he did that as a personality cult. But then the breaking point seems to have been embezzlement, when they began to accuse him of taking money from the coffers of the church to do things like buy a car for his son or make personal purchases and stuff like this. So in 2008 already, Reverend Terry Jones was kicked off the board of the Christliche Gemeinde Köln. Now, he had gone over there in the service of a guy called Donald Northrup, R-U-P, apparently not Northrop Grumman, but who knows what it is. We'll try to find that out. But this is called the Maranatha Campus Ministries, and the Maranatha Campus Ministries has its own checkered story as an on-campus religious cult, which has then kicked off many campuses because of the strange behavior, self-destructive behavior of some of its members. So Donald Northrup is the sponsor of this Dove World Outreach Center in Gainesville, Florida. He's also the backer of the Maranatha Campus Ministries starting in the 70s. So the idea is to create a European branch of the Maranatha over there. It does not work well. Maranatha is subsequently self-dissolved after a whole series of attacks. So we're dealing with a small-time, nickel-dime-and-quarter Elmer Gantry religious huckster who has battened onto this operation that he's doing now as a means to increase his publicity, his gate receipts, and all the rest. And now we're going to get the self-starting copycats in Gainesville, but then in Tennessee, in Topeka, Kansas, and in Wyoming, as we'll tell you when we come back in just a minute.